Calling to order the Municipality of Monroeville's regular council meeting for May 9th, 2023. We'd all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Can I have a roll call, please?
Mayor Griesbach?
Here.
Mr. Hizzy?
Here.
Mr. Poach?
Here.
Mr. Stevenson?
Here.
Mr. Wolfram? Mr. Adams?
Here.
Mr. Williams?
Here.
Mr. Biondo?
Here.
Mr. Little?
Here.
Mr. Ratcher?
Here.
Ms. Rock?
Here.
Mr. Hugus?
Here.
Mr. Sedlak?
Here.
Mr. Weldon?
Here.
Welcome. We're going to start the meeting with public comment period on proposed agenda items only. This is for any item that is on the agenda for this evening. There will be another comment period at the end of the meeting for any municipal item. So I'll leave the floor open for anyone who'd like to make comments on agenda items only. Seeing none, we're going to close that public comment period. I have an executive session announcement. The council conducted an executive session before Citizens Night on Tuesday, May 2nd. 2023, from 6:15 to approximately 7 p.m. for personnel and litigation reasons. Council legislative action, if any, shall be taken at tonight's May 9th council meeting. Council, I'm looking for a motion to approve the minutes of Citizens Night meeting of April 4th, 2023, the council agenda-setting meeting of April 4th, 2023, and the regular council meeting of April 11th, 2023.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Any questions, comments, or changes, council? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Mr. Hizzy?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mr. Stevenson?
Aye.
Mr. Adams?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Mr. Biondo?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Reports of the tax collections. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Questions or comments? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Mr. Biondo?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Mr. Adams?
Aye.
Mr. Stevenson?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mr.
Aye.
The ayes have it. List of bills and budget transfers. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions or comments, council? Hearing none. There is a motion and a second to approve. Roll call, please.
Mr. Hizzy?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mr. Stevenson?
Aye.
Mr. Adams?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Mr. Biondo?
Aye.
The ayes have it. And the payroll report. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve. Questions or comments? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Mr. Biondo?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Mr. Adams?
Aye.
Mr. Stevenson?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mr. Hizzy?
Aye.
The ayes have it. And all these items were reviewed at the May 2nd, last week's agenda-setting meeting. Council, moving over to our vacancies on boards, commissions, and authorities. Mr. Hizzy, I'll start. Thank you. Mr. Poach.
I believe I have somebody in the second ward. That was Mr. Williams altogether is due for approval. And I've I don't want to butcher his name too much from on Haymaker Road.
It's Mr. Digbahu,
Digbahu, thank you. Digbahu, thank you.
and that is
It would be for, because he was known for.
that's an appointment. Is that correct, Mr.
That's an
Poach?
appointment, yes.
That would be an appointment.
There's a motion to appoint. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. That's an appointment. Anything else, Mr. Poach?
Nothing, thank you.
Mr. Stevenson.
Thanks,
Yes,
Sharon.
I would like to make a motion to appoint Terrence, I don't believe this is the correct spelling of his last name, but he
Singleton?
lives on Rabbit Run Lane. I'd like to make a motion to appoint him to the Planning Commission.
Singleton?
Sigelson.
Sigleson.
Mickelson. Very good. Thank you,
Correct.
Mr. Hugus.
I don't-
That is a motion to appoint. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. That's an appointment. Anything else, Mr. Stevenson?
That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Adams?
Nothing tonight, Mayor.
Mr. Williams?
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Mr. Biondo?
Nothing.
Thank you, gentlemen. Council, moving over to our bids and proposals. We have three to consider for this evening. Mr. Little, please.
Yes, we have 3 bids for the paving program, 2023 paving program. The paving program is, the loan bid is from Liberoni, $992,576. And we have a Seal Coat program, and that is for $343,000, the low bid, $343,070.80, and that would be Russell Standard. And we have a loan bid for the fog seal, and for the fog seal, that would also be Russell Standard, and that is $237,181.34. And council had some discussion about this at the agenda-setting meeting. What is council's pleasure on the road program?
Well, motion, can we put all three together and approve all three?
Sure.
Yes, and yeah, I'd approve to get I'd prefer to have
Make
a motion,
all three of the.
and then we can
bids
discuss it.
Highlighted and accept them.
Let's get a motion second first, then we'll discuss it before we
Your
vote.
motion?
My motion.
So, Mr. Poach, I'm sorry, there was a motion to accept all
All
three
three
bids?
bids.
And Mr. Stevenson, that's a second on that same
Yes.
motion? Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a motion second to approve, but now we can have discussion on those 3 items.
Well,
Mr. Williams?
I don't know if it's the right time or not, but in Ward 6, we got 20 streets to be tarred and chipped, and I'd just soon not have any of them tarred and chipped and use that same money, maybe just pave one of them. But I don't want no tar and chipping in the 6th Ward, just too much blowback on them.
If I may, we went through this whole process, and every councilman agreed, and we passed this process. Now you're saying you don't want the process,
Correct.
but it's already been approved, Bob.
From the resolution.
It's already been approved, and you were one of the people that
I was.
approved it.
I was, before I got all the blowback from them.
Any other comments or questions,
Here's the
council?
thing, the taxpayer, if they don't want the road tarred and chipped, I mean, they should have that option to voice their opinion. I mean, I understand we already sent it out for bid, but we're only talking a couple of streets.
I mean, I think the motion is to accept the bids.
I agree, it is.
I think there could be a discussion later on whether to tar and chip, which roads, what to tar and chip,
Yeah.
if some that don't want to be tarred and chipped. But if we were to reject this, where are we? Back at square one? I mean,
Yeah, we'd have to go
put
back
it-
out for bid
We'd have to
again.
put it back out for
we
bid.
have- Well,
I
it's
agree.
the
It's not-
I think it's
not
the
that we wanna
resolution we have
reject
to
it.
change.
There's
Right,
Some discussion on some of the roads that are getting tarred and
right,
chipped.
right.
Well, we made a resolution for the program as it was. Now, how much is it going to impact it if we change that? Then we have to change the resolution.
But that would be outside of this,
Yeah,
accepting the
what's on the
bids.
table is to vote on the bids.
Right.
Period.
Right.
Yeah, we
And
just
That's all,
want to get that.
that's all right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
discussion on what you're talking about, Mike and Bob, can still be done.
Correct.
But
I
we
agree.
need to do the bids now.
And we probably also have to be cautious with, really cutting up a program, taking the money out or adding more money. That, it would have to be probably close to what the bid would be
Yeah,
financially.
one thing I'll defer to Bob on this, but one of the things to be cautious here, we have 3 separate contracts. All right, if we're approving everything as is the three projects, but now we're talking about the seal coat. Bob, you don't want any, Bob Williams, you don't want any seal coat, tar and chip in your court. Mike Adams, I believe you feel the same way.
There was at least one road, Red Oak
At least
Court.
one. Now, this is where things have to be ascertained, in that if we delete, this is just Tim Little talking, this isn't any law or anything, you start deleting 20, 25, 30, 40% of the program, well, now is the bidder gonna say, what did I bid on? So, now, there's nothing wrong with eliminating a road here and there, you're reducing it 10, 15%. We're not gonna do this road, we're not gonna do that, okay, fine, but if you're eliminated, I'll go half of the program, oh, that could present a problem. That's where we are right now.
Bob, if you get a comment?
Yeah, my understanding is, and I discussed this with Mr. Hugus and confirmed it, those bids, the conditions of the bids were that the municipality can elect to do all of that work, none of that work, or some of that work. So with respect to the validity of the bids, the unit prices,
Okay.
we'd still be okay if council decided they wanted to do less of something or more of something.
It doesn't matter if it's a large
Correct.
percentage. It does not matter.
No, not under the wording that's in the.
Not on, okay.
I agree, but I guess the only thing I would throw caution, I'd ask Mr. Ratcher this, is that I think we need to solidify this before we execute the contract, though. Like, we have some time here to get bonds in place, but I think before you execute the contract, we probably should know, in around figures, what you're going to do.
I agree.
Yes.
Yeah.
So let's approve. the-
And we could also, and maybe, what we're kind of talking about, if we maybe had one road that we did not do a fog seal on, we could go down the list to maybe a different road that needed fog seal that didn't quite make the cut. Same price.
Same footage and
You
everything.
can mix and match, but within reason.
Right, okay, I think that's what everyone okay with that?
I think
at
that's
this
all
point?
we're asking, yeah.
Are you saying not to vote on the bids tonight?
No.
No. I'm just saying before you execute the contract. Because we're still a ways from, it usually takes, probably 20 to 30 days here to get an
Yeah, we're
executed contract.
voting on the square footage price.
Right.
For each.
I mean, now,
Right.
not to confuse us anymore, Mayor.
Well, there's
Just-
prep work too we want to watch out for too.
Yeah, I mean, and that's part, that was the other thing I'm going to say, we approach seal coat roads very different than we approach mill and pave roads.
Right.
We've already videotaped storm sewer lines and looked at catch basins and evaluate what we need to do and prep for mill and pave, or seal coats, you're really not doing that. So if you're going to add more milling and paving, we're kind of behind the ball because, we got to core bore them, and there's a process to that, where there's less of a process to seal coating. The other thing I was going to say is that the milling and paving bid does include milling and paving the play courts at the community park.
Right.
In the tune of about $59,000. Not that it's going to be done, it's just you guys had asked that to be an option when we look at what the cost of the courts are going to be.
Right.
I don't think we're looking at least I'm not, looking at milling and paving all the roads that you had set up for fog seal. I mean, that's,
Well, Mr. Williams said he doesn't want any in his ward, and there's probably
But what he's-
50% of the seal coating is in that ward. So there's a pretty big chunk of money that would be removed from that.
I guess what he's
contract.
saying, whatever that total would be, could you pave a few roads maybe with the lowest paver?
I understand, yeah, I
paver
understand.
rating?
I'm just saying, before we finalize that number, we need to do it before we execute contracts.
But there's time.
Yes.
Okay.
Like 2 weeks?
I'd say 2 to 3 weeks, but the problem is the bond. The performance bond, maintenance bond is a dollar figure based on the contract amount.
Sure.
So this is probably a discussion we're going to have.
Okay.
Motion and a second.
Yep, council, there is a motion, a second to approve. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, we do have a motion and a second to approve. Roll call, please. This is for all three bids.
Mr. Hizzy?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mr. Stevenson?
Aye.
Mr. Adams?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Mr. Biondo?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Council, moving over to our new business. We're starting with 23-2-ST Municipality of Monroeville, Valley Park. Mr. Little.
Yeah, this is Municipality of Monroeville. Us, applicant is requesting site plan approval to construct a pedestrian bridge, pavilion, and restroom facility. Property is located at 1268 Averett Creek Road, tax parcel ID 1108P047 in the S Conservancy zoning district. And Planning Commission recommends approval of this application, and we had a presentation on this last Tuesday.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion is second to approve. Any questions or comments? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Mr. Biondo?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Mr. Adams?
Aye.
Mr. Stevenson?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mr. Hizzy?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Next item, Mr. Little.
Yeah, HF Lensing Company, this is in Boyce Park. This is the county. The applicant's requesting site plan approval to construct climbing walls and a BMX track. The property is located at 675 Old Frankstown Road, tax parcel ID 975L100 in the S Conservancy zoning district. And the Planning Commission recommended approval to this also.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion is second to approve. Questions or comments? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Hizzy.
Aye.
Mr. Poach.
Aye.
Mr. Stevenson.
Aye.
Mr. Adams.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Mr. Biondo.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Moving up to our motions, we have two this evening. Mr. Little.
First one is a motion to approve the property disposition for the Tricog Land Bank for the properties located at 2645 and 2647 Woodlawn Drive.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion is second to approve. Questions or comments, council? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Biondo.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Mr. Adams.
Aye.
Mr. Stevenson.
Aye.
Mr. Poach.
Aye.
Mr. Hizzy.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Next item.
Okay, the next item is the motion to pass, that's Act 65, about something that was not on our agenda, and it is tied to the resolution number 2 below, the intergovernmental agreement to apply for a grant with Wilkins Township for EV charging stations. And as I have said to council in a text and an email, this is, there's two grants here that could be applied for with Wilkins Township. Now, Rebecca Bradley, the manager there, came to me the day after our agenda setting last week, but we had talked about it briefly a couple weeks before that. But she has an intern who is going to be working on this. But she and I have to both get her a decent amount of information, but she would be the one to do the bulk of the grunt work, so to speak, on the grant. But as far as budgeting and things of that nature, we'd have to help her out. But the two grants, and I highlighted sections out of the grant, there is a, what's called an alternative fuel corridor grant. That would be our part of the grant. That would be better for us, because the reason why she came to me is we're close, obviously, to the Parkway, 376. And part of the federal government, what they want to do is have these EV charging stations close to people who are traveling long distances. The other part of this is the community EV, and this is for people that live locally, are not traveling, and that's where Wilkins Township would come in. And ideally, this would be put on a private property. And we have contacted RJ Wilco, or RW Wilco. They own Parks, the office complex, Penn Center East, and they also own Miracle Mile. And she has sent an email to both of them, but Barry Layton, who is the manager for the Penn Center East, he has said go ahead with it. I have contacted Monroeville Mall. They have not gotten back to me. I spoke with them last Wednesday, but they haven't totally gotten back to me. But I would advise council to approve the resolution, and this grant is due at the end of the month. If our intern can get it done, fine. If not, we're going to see if there's another round of this grant to put EV charging stations here in Monroeville, just like they do up at Giant Eagle. I think there's 4 up there right now. And this is the wave of the future, and I would suggest that it's something we should seriously consider. Any questions from council on it?
What's this going to cost the taxpayer?
It's not going to cost the taxpayer anything, because there's a 20%, I felt that there's a 20% match, and the property owner has to pay for the 20% match.
Right.
The grant is for putting in the charging stations. The property owner would have to take care of the maintenance, the electrical, and the maintenance of the facility.
And they would do the billing also?
For the charge, for the
For
charge.
the-
No, that's all
Credit
credit
card.
card, that's all credit card.
Oh, okay.
That's all through credit card.
But we're essentially just the conduit to have the grant happen for the
Exactly.
the private.
I make a motion to approve.
All right, so let's do a couple things here. So first, we have the motion number 2, and that's really just everything Mr. Little just talked about as far as this came to us last minute from Wilkins Township. So let's get a motion, a second, to approve item number 2 pursuant to
I
Act
make that
65.
motion, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Hizzy. And we have a second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Hizzy.
Aye.
Mr. Poach.
Aye.
Mr. Stevenson.
Aye.
Mr. Adams.
Aye.
Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Mr. Biondo.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Now, council, let's move down to our, we're going down to the resolutions. The second resolution is what we've been talking about, the resolution approving the intergovernmental cooperation agreement between Monroeville and Wilkins Township.
I also make that motion.
Thank you.
Approve.
We have a motion and a second. Any other further questions or comments on those
Yeah,
items?
I got one comment. We need to be careful as we go into these agreements with other communities that Monroeville isn't carrying the load by themselves. It seems like we get involved with other communities, and Monroeville carries the blunt of the responsibility.
Well, I think in this case, actually, it's the exact opposite,
Yeah,
where
Wilkins
Wilkins is
is-
doing all the
Wilkins is doing
legwork on it.
everything for us.
And they have an intern working on it, so I think it's a good thing, so, but I understand your
Ain't
point,
costing
though.
us a dime.
And then my quick question, just for point of clarity, is this intergovernmental agreement is pursuant just to this grant?
Yes. Specific to the grant.
Okay, good.
Just to make that
Yeah.
clear, as
Yes,
opposed to our
thank you.
other,
Yeah.
we currently have the intergovernmental agreement that we currently have with Wilkins on our
Comprehensive plan.
comprehensive plan between the two of them, so that just so it is aware that they are two different things.
Yeah, I think we're being good neighbors, and I think this is a good thing for the community. So there is a motion, a second on this item. Any other questions or comments, council? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Biondo?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Mr. Adams?
Aye.
Mr. Stevenson?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mr. Hissy?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Council, we're going to move back up to our resolutions. Our first resolution, Mr. Little.
Yeah, a resolution approving the transfer of restaurant liquor license number R2705 into the Municipality of Monroeville for Zia's Restaurant Lounge and Events LLC, or Zia's. Zia's or Zia's?
Zia's.
Zias.
Zia's.
Zias.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion is second to approve, and we did have a public hearing on this item at the May 2nd meeting. There's a motion second to approve. Any questions or comments, council? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Hissy?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mr. Stevenson?
Aye.
Mr. Adams?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Mr. Biondo?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Council, moving through the agenda here, we are at our ordinances. We have one to consider this evening. Mr. Ratcher, please.
An ordinance of the Municipality of Monroeville, Allegheny County, Pennsylvania, repealing ordinance numbers 2464, 2480, 2550, and 2690, and setting forth the requirements for obtaining occupancy permits prior to the transfer of one- and two-family dwelling units, establishing inspection requirements for multifamily dwellings, and establishing procedures for obtaining said occupancy permits, and setting fees for said permits. And as was discussed on Tuesday last week, this is a housekeeping item to update to the latest regulation.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion is second to approve. Any other questions or comments, council? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Biondo?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
Mr. Adams?
Aye.
Mr. Stevenson?
Aye.
Mr. Poach?
Aye.
Mr. Hissy?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Moving to our reports of municipal staff, Mr. Ratcher, anything this evening?
Nothing, Mayor, thank you.
Mr. Little.
Yeah, just the same items I mentioned at last Tuesday's agenda setting meeting, Memorial Day. The parade begins at 9 PM down at Valley Honda, like it does every year, with a ceremony following at the Old Stone Church Cemetery. And Community Day will be at the Community Park West on Saturday, June the 10th, and the 5K race will be preceding that at 9 AM. So register for the 5K race. Household hazardous waste and electronic collection event Saturday, June 24th, from 9 AM to 1 PM at the Public Works Building. Register through Noble Environmental. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Little. Mr. Hugus.
No, sir.
Ms. Rock.
Nothing.
Thank you. I'm going to open the floor for public comment on any municipal item. If there's anyone from the community, taxpayer or resident, that would like to address council on any municipal item, now would be your opportunity. When you do get up here, if you could sign in for me, please. And then if you just state your name for the record and that you are a Monroeville resident. You don't have to tell us
I
your
have been
address.
for 52 years.
Welcome.
Never complained about anything till now.
The floor is yours. If you state your name for the record,
I have a petition here I'd like to read if you don't mind.
go ahead.
The petition for repaving Tyrolid Drive. We, the undersigned residents of Alpine Village, request the Borough of Monroeville pave Tyrolid Drive. This residential street has had little maintenance performed during the decades of its existence. Recently, it was tarred and chipped, which has caused more problems than we had with erosion, cracks, and patches. A vast amount of the chips do not properly bond with the tar and made loose surfaces. Elderly residents, my wife included, cannot use their walkers because the surface is so rough. Children have lost control of their bicycles and had several sustained deep scrapes and cuts from falling on the chips that are sharp. On hot days, the tar softens, sticks to our shoes, stains our carpets, in our vehicles, and our residents. This street A proper application of asphalt is needed. We respectfully request the borough take care of this matter. This petition is signed by everyone on the street. I can't give it to Wolfram because he's not here.
Give it to me.
I have many copies in case you lose it.
I won't lose it, I promise. It'll be part of the record.
Also, for the record, could you state your name for the record?
Please.
We need it for
Okay.
the record.
Did you spell it?
No, state your name.
Oh, say it. David Donofrio, Donofrio. Put senior down there because
Thank
there's a
you.
junior.
You don't blame me.
Listen, I'm not angry or anything. Something really needs to be done, but like I said, I've lived there for 52 years. Tyrola Drive is a dead-end cul-de-sac, and it's pretty much level. And I watched 45 children, I counted them. 45 children grew up on that street. 4 of them were mine. They rode their bicycles. We were out there throwing footballs, baseball. We had the cul-de-sac. We used to play softball, frisbee. We did it all. Now the children can't play. Week before last was the 3rd child that fell, and I saw his leg. It was ripped open. You can get a scuff on asphalt, but when you have those sharp stones, it tears, and it dug in deep. Now the children are wearing helmets. What happens if they fall and they don't brace themselves and they slide on the pavement on their face? They're going to have scars for life. What are we going to do about that? Something needs to be done. I appreciate it if you just take this into consideration, please. And like I said, everyone on the street signed that petition.
Yeah, there's 29 signatures for the record, and that'll be part of the record as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, David. I'll leave the floor open for anyone who'd like to address council on any municipal item. Seeing none, we're going to close that comment period and move over to reports of our council members. Mr. Hizzy, please.
Just one thing, I hope to see everybody at the Memorial Day and wish our manager a happy birthday.
All right.
Tomorrow. That's it. I never forget.
Take the weekend off, Tim.
That's all, Mayor.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Check
Mr.
out
Coach.
early, check out about 4 or 5 on Friday and see him. That's it.
Mr. Coach.
Yeah, first of all, remind everybody, don't forget to turn out to vote. Tommy's coming back up as well. It's important to do that. Personal best wishes out to former Councilman Michael Kelly, went in the hospital today. He's been having a rough time of it. I hope he feels better to do that. And also, best wishes, and hopefully my wife feels better after her accident yesterday, too, where she broke her nose. So we're getting through that as well. But other than that, that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Post. Mr. Stevenson.
Just one item, Mayor. I think everybody knows that we have a lot of traffic in Monroeville, and sometimes it gets very irritating, and people get upset with each other. I just would like to say that leave yourself a little extra time, so if there's traffic, you can still get where you want to go without getting mad at the person in front of you or behind you. Just try to be a little more courteous to the other people out there, and stay safe.
Thank you, Mr. Stevenson. Mr. Adams.
I just have a question for the manager, if he may be able to answer. Do you have any idea when PennDOT is going to start the construction on 22?
Well, they already have. in
Wilkins
They're
Township.
working in Wilkins
Okay.
on the median and on the shoulders, mostly on the medians, what I see.
I haven't been down.
Yeah, they've
I was
already
just
started.
concerned where that'd be when the 4th of July parade. It's,
Good point.
Can I interject?
Point.
Mr. Hugus.
I talked to the project manager. They're working from Rhode Island Road to the mall this year. Next year, they're going to go from the mall to Route 48.
oh, so it's
So-
not, this section isn't getting done?
Correct. This section, it
Okay.
won't be done until next year.
Oh, that's good.
Really?
Yes.
And that's it, man. That's all I got.
That's news. That's news to us,
Well,
unfortunately.
We got news anyhow.
There you go.
Breaking.
Bear of the bad news.
Here's the bear. I understand that. Mr. Williams.
Jared, would you put that pamphlet up, please? Monroeville Senior Center is one of the best in the area. There are many programs that fit every need. So come and taste us. You'll see that we taste good. Check out the website at www.monroeville.pa.us. And again, I want to commend Tara for her pamphlet. It's a nice job. Thank you. The next thing is, I think we need a standard order not to reprint this whole document, just the agenda page. And I don't think it's necessary. It's just a waste of paper. And if you can't remember to bring it back, leave it lay here or turn it in. But I don't think it's necessary to print this whole document every time. So anyhow, I don't think we need that as a motion. I just think we need to
Is all,
be in
well,
agreement.
does council agree with that?
I think it's a good suggestion unless there's changes.
I mean, there's extra copies if someone does forget it.
But the main thing is just, yeah, the actual agenda itself, but the extra
Well,
information.
let me make out a motion then.
Well, I mean, okay, I just want to, that's fine, I don't have a problem with that, but, you know, people will write on it sometimes, and that's okay, because, and if you don't want to take it with you, leave it here, and Dara will get it the next morning. But if you write on it, then obviously we'll have to throw it away, and you won't have what you wrote on it. So there's that part of it, too.
Usually we just write on the cover page.
Well, yeah,
Not in the
yeah.
whole document.
I doodle everywhere.
You know,
Are these documents the same as Citizens Night and the work?
most of the time they are, yeah, except for obviously the agenda page, whatever changes are on there. But yeah, most of the time it is.
I think it's worth a motion, and then certainly if a council member wants the packet, they can make a request. I don't think there's a problem with that. So you made a
I
motion?
made a motion.
I'll second it.
Yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Abstain.
Motion is approved, however, the, if a council person wants the packet on the regular council meeting, just make the request, that's no problem at all, but it's a good suggestion. Anything else for tonight, Mr. Williams?
Yeah, need to remember that the farmer's market is now at the Monroeville Mall by Dick's Sporting Good. So come and see our vendors. It's good for Monroeville. It's good for the community. And I want to wish Steve a speedy recovery. And don't forget to go out and vote on Tuesday. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Mr. Biondo?
Okay, I have something that deals with the zoning ordinance. I've been talking with Mr. Weldon this past week. We've been communicating, just updating the map. So a lot of the properties have, are multiple, were zoned multiple different zonings, and Paul and I went through them and to try to clean it up. I just wanted to put that make that a matter of record, so I'm just going to kind of go through them. Paul has a list of the property owners and all the neighboring properties that would be affected by this change that would need to be, it would need to be communicated to. Excuse me. To start, all municipal park property would be rezoned to the S Conservancy District. The Allegheny Land Trust property on 48 would be rezoned to S Conservancy, and the Allegheny Land Trust would be notified of the rezoning. There is property owned by the railroad between Turtle Creek and Broadway. It is currently zoned S, and we should make it, we should rezone it M2 like the rest of the rail yard. There are erroneous M1 zones behind the mall to be rezoned to S, which is consistent with the rest of the property behind the mall. Good Shepherd Church and Assembly of God Church on Old William Penn are split zoned R1 and M1. We want to rezone to make that those churches R1. The old Siemens property at the bottom of Hochberg Road is zoned S, R2, and M1. I'd like to rezone that R2. It's behind University Park Elementary School. There are 6 properties that are next to Hochberg Road on Old Frankstown Road that are split zoned M1 and S. They're next to the U-Haul properties. The U-Haul would be the end of those properties. If we rezoned all of them M1, excuse me, there would still be a buffer between the M1 and any of the residentially zoned property. The Public Works Building is currently zoned R2. It's next to the Moya Industrial Park, which is zoned M1. We should rezone that to M1. There's a PennDOT supply yard, which, next to the middle school, right when you get on the Parkway. That on our map, on our draft map is marked TBD, to be determined. Paul recommends R1, Paul recommends M1, and I think that would be consistent. Property between Evergreen Drive, homes, backyards, and the Parkway is also listed as TBD on the draft map. Paul recommends zoning that S. And I'd ask the incorporate, I think the mayor brought this up last week as well, incorporate the Rudders property rezoning proposal from Jamie Matzock. I think I said that right. I might, anyway. I believe her proposal is part of the record already. And then finally, there are properties on McClure Road that are split zoned S and R1. Those are very steep properties. I think we should zone all of those S Conservancy. And that would be the properties from the Enterprise Rental Car, on the west side of McClure, from the Enterprise Rental Car to the homes in Royal Oaks, which is Verlinden and Wiltshire Drive. And that's all for that.
I think these are all good suggestions. I mean, some of it's housekeeping. I think some of the, especially whenever it's split zoned, I know that's a problem issue because if you have one property that has two different zones on it, then it's a hard time deciding where does one zone begin. So the zoning really should follow the property lines. That makes it cleaner and it's easier for the zoning officers to follow that and make these determinations. Anything else, any other comments about this, council?
Yeah, the people that own these properties are aware that they have multiple zonings on the properties. Are they going to be notified, and are they have input on changing them, or do they want to keep them like they are? Or are we just going to be a government that says, we're going to do this and we don't care what you want to do?
Now, in addition to, the 1,000 letters we sent out with the rezoning and the new ordinance, I'm going to send out an individual letter to each one of these that has split zoning or non-conforming use on it. So it'll be an individual letter specified for that property to that property owner.
Is there going to be a hearing? How's that work once they're notified?
There won't be any additional hearings. They can just contact me, and if they don't want it changed, we can discuss that.
We'll give them a time frame to respond on these letters, and they'll all be sent certified mail.
Correct.
That's all I wanted. Thank you.
Good. Any other questions or comments, council? And Mr. Wildem, we spoke briefly about some of the parks you were going to change. I know Heritage Park was R1, but we want to get that changed to
S Conservancy.
S Conservancy.
All parts.
Oh, that was the first bullet point.
That was a long time ago, so.
It was a long time ago. I didn't start listening until the end.
You were
Thank
still
you.
writing down from.
I was
All the parts, yeah.
just making sure it gets done.
Because there was our one.
Okay, I have no more comments.
I have a couple more things. Jared, can you do the Back to the Roots? Monroeville Recreations and Parks will be at the Back to the Roots Native Plant and Seed Swap at Monroeville Community Park West. It's going to be in Pavilions 2 and 4 on Saturday, May 20th, from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m., with a station to create your own pollinator lollipops. Come check it out. It's a community event filled with activities and vendors of native seeds and plants to spruce up your garden this spring. And the last thing I have is the summer concert series. Can we get that one up too, Jared? Thank you. Monroeville Parks and Recreation and Parks is excited to present the summer concert series sponsored by UPMC with more concerts than ever. Check out the awesome bands coming to our beautiful amphitheater in Monroeville Community Park West this summer on Sunday evenings from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. Our series opens with Christian Beck on June 11th.
Nice.
And that's all I have.
Yeah, we appreciate UPMC East, and it's always concerts are always a great addition to the community park. Thank you, Mr. Biondo. Council, I have a couple things this evening. One thing we spoke about, and it's an ongoing discussion about the capital improvement program. And I know we still have to mull over the funding of that program, but what there currently is and what we approved in the budget was a $5 million transfer to get the capital improvement budget going and the program going. And what I would like council to get on board with is to start moving forward on the security updates and the security improvement portion of the capital improvement program. I was talking to Mr. Little about it. He gathered some information for council, and this is for the camera systems, fob systems, and this is throughout our different buildings, our parks, hardening of some of the buildings, Unfortunately, I don't think we can be too careful as a community in these matters, and the fact that the money's already there, it kind of falls outside of the rest of the capital improvement program. I mean, it's still part of the program, but the money's already there in the budget for these items. So, Mr. Little, if you want to go over, where did you?
Yeah, my monthly meeting with Tina Mueller, our IT director, we had a pretty lengthy meeting about what we've talked about for, years, but, really getting into the nitty-gritty. And I'm not going to go over everything. You can read this at your leisure. And as the mayor said, when we passed the 2023 budget, we have in there a transfer of $5 million. Now, physically, we're not going to transfer $5 million, but there is a $5 million transfer to start seed money into the capital improvement program. And I believe, and I think the mayor believes, and hopefully everybody else believes, that the building security here is the paramount issue. And to get this back up running as it was, we were starting this before the pandemic in late 2019, if you remember. And the more important thing, I guess, is the cost. And Tina and Brian put all the costs together on what this would cost us, and we have a grand total there. And this is about $541,000. And when I met with Tina, she ballparked it at about that much. And basically what this would be cameras and videos here in the municipal building, at the Public Works building, at the senior center, the library, the training center, and also the community park. And this would also have to do with the fob system that's here in the building, which is original with the building. And we had a failure of the fob system it'll be 3 weeks ago this Friday. And Tina got it back up working, but she came into my office and said, I think we're going to have to use all our keys on Monday. And that was about 1, 2 o'clock on Friday, but she and Brian got it back up and running. And so this fob system has to be changed. And we had a vendor come in here about 3 years ago, and they looked around. And obviously, all this would have to be bid out. But I think we should get the ball rolling on this. And part of this also, which is not part of this, is to get the architect from LGA back out here and to pick up where we left off 3 years ago as far as the security in the building and getting the plans for adding another vestibule where anybody that comes in here, or they just can't come in here, it's nice to have people come in here whenever they want. We have a very open atrium here, foyer, but anybody that comes into the building, we should have a video camera, and unfortunately, that's the day and age we live in, and an audio that goes up to Holly at the reception, and she would buzz them in. And, and we would have a record of everybody that came in here. The most vulnerable offices are the tax office and obviously the park and rec. They can just come right in and anybody can just go in there, which people have to pay their taxes, and they do it anyway, and somebody comes in to park and rec. So that's basically what we're looking to move forward with.
So council, is everyone okay with moving forward on this item?
Well, one addition to that, too, as well. So prior to we want to keep moving forward with it to start getting the bids and information, but prior to implementation, I'd like to arrange for a confidential briefing, given that it's public safety and security related.
Sure.
For council individually on the specifics and the details of it, of the nature of the program. So that's sort of a condition that goes with moving forward.
Oh, most certainly. I mean, yeah.
Okay?
I would recommend removing Public Works from this at this time until we resolve what we're going to do with that facility.
No, we probably still need, there's an upgrade for it, Bob. I think you can make a case for that for a couple of things, too.
That's your opinion, and I gave
Well,
you
no, I'll give you some other information, too. I'm fine. I'm not arguing with you, but I'm just saying,
Okay,
there's some other stuff I can.
You need a motion, Mayor?
Well, no, you don't need a motion. I mean, it's already been approved through their budget itself.
Yeah, we have
I
it
just
already.
wanted to make you aware of what I think we should be moving ahead with and what Tina put together, and also getting the architect out here to start looking, at least looking and getting that squared away, and quite possibly the police locker rooms downstairs, I talked with Doug about that when the contract was changed with the 20-mile radius for the police officers, and there hasn't been any feedback on that as far as, but it's something that's it's probably in the future of this building.
Any other questions or comments,
Yeah, one
council?
question, the maintenance fees.
Yeah.
What, if we're putting a new system in there, is this gonna be every month, or?
That's going to be the maintenance fee, yeah. Well, a large part of the cost of IT are the maintenance fees. I mean, we spend at least $100,000 a year, oh, more than that, I can get you a list, Tina brings it forth every year, how much we spend on contracts that we have with Telestaff, with AccuFund, with all the different systems we have in the municipality here. We're well over $100,000 a year.
What I'm saying, though, paying the initial cost for these, they're gonna have to do any maintenance to them? is what I'm
Well, it's not a
saying.
maintenance
For the
fee,
fall-
it's not a maintenance fee per se, it's for them to monitor, like Telestaff, for instance.
Okay.
I think we pay Telestaff.
I'm reading it different.
And
I'm-
cloud storage of.
Maintenance fee, like they have to, like.
No,
They
it's
used to
not
have to
that.
call people in to fix the fobs.
No.
Yeah, maintaining all the
Yeah.
data,
There's always upgrades that they have to do to the software.
the software upgrades, the data.
That makes total sense.
Council, any other questions or comments about that item? Very good. And I have one more item. So next Tuesday, May 16th, is Election Day. It also is the annual law enforcement torch run for Special Olympics. This is something that we are involved with every year. The law enforcement torch run for Special Olympics is the largest public awareness vehicle and grassroots fundraiser for the Special Olympics. Known as Guardians of the Flame, law enforcement members and Special Olympics athletes carry the flame of hope into the opening ceremony of local competitions and into Special Olympics state, national, regional, and world games. Annually, more than 100,000 dedicated and compassionate law enforcement members carry the flame of hope, symbolizing courage and celebration of diversity, uniting communities around the globe. So the local one, it starts at the North Shore on May 16th, and then members of law enforcement and other members of the communities run the torch eastward, make their way through Monroeville, and when we continue it through Murraysville, and ultimately it goes to State College. We have a good turnout with our police force, and it's an honor for me to run with them, and I've done that for the past couple of years, and I'm happy to do it. I'm proud to do it with our force, and we've been doing this for many years. Officer Dave Felice is very much involved locally and actually nationally with this program. They raise a lot of money. It's really good for Special Olympics, and it's great for the community. So what I'm looking for is a donation from council for this event for the Monroeville Police Department, and I'll be joining them in an amount of $250. If council have any comments on that,
Need a motion for that?
I would like a motion.
A motion to approve?
Second.
Motion is second to approve the $250 donation.
Yes.
Questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So thank you very much, gentlemen. And also, too, feel free, you can also join us as well. There's still room to sign up if anyone wants to run the 3 miles as the torch comes through Monroeville. Just let me know up to the day of, and we'll get you a spot. But no, thank you so much. This is great for the
Drive it.
police department
We can drive it.
and for our Special Olympics. And with that, I want to seek a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion is second to adjourn. All in favor? Opposed? This meeting is adjourned. Thank you and good night.